Yes, hello. Welcome back to the Rugby League Forecast podcast for the tips and predictions show for round 12. Let's get straight into it. The Raiders and the Dolphins kick off on Thursday night. I am so torn in this game. I'm going to go Canberra based on the fact that I do believe that the Raiders, this time of year, I think it's extremely hard for opposition teams to verse Canberra and Canberra. Earlier in the year, I can sort of if you want to verse Canberra, you want to get them in March. You want to get them in the opening rounds, try and beat the freezing cold, but it's getting cold this time of year. And I genuinely believe the Raiders will win this. I think it's going to be really, really close. Interested to see Dane Laurie and Ethan Sanders combine once again in the halves. No big Josh Papali'i, which is a loss, but I feel like ever since Corey Horsburgh has moved from the lock forward position into front row, he's done a really good job for them. No Simi Sasangi, another loss. He's expected to be ruled out for a couple of months for the Canberra Raiders with an injury. I love Owen Paddy being named in the 14 here. Expect a lot of spark in the Raiders attack when he comes on, especially in the middle of the ruck. I'm going to go the Raiders. I think the loss of Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow due to origin duties does hurt the Dolphins, not as much as it would have over previous seasons. They have been in red-hot form recently. Certainly a smoky to win the competition. For me, I genuinely believe Canberra win this. I'm going to go Canberra in the first game. The Dolphins, they line up well, don't they? I mean, Trey Fuller replacing the Hammer. He's a good player. Really, really good player. He's turned down big money offers to remain a Dolphin, which I absolutely love and respect. Loyalty is still in the game. It really is. No Cody Nikorima here. Brad Schneider. His short kicking game, Brad Schneider, is underrated. He actually played a bit of halfback in early 2022, I think it was, for Canberra. Jamal Fogarty was injured for the first 12 rounds in that season, and Brad Schneider played halfback for a lot of that time for the Canberra Raiders, and his kicking game in that 3-month period for Canberra was absolutely outstanding. Look, they line up really well. I like Jeremy Marshall-King starting at dummy half, but they will miss his impact off the bench. He's been brilliant over the last couple of weeks in that 14 jersey. Max Plath is a huge loss in my opinion. I know he starts at dummy half and then plays a bit of lock forward when Marshall King comes on. But for me, I think the Raiders get him only just. I love Tavita Nafahu. We saw him in the preseason challenge score one of the great tries of the preseason challenge. They have so much talent. And look, if the Dolphins win, it would not surprise me, but you've got to pick someone. In this game, I'm going to go the Raiders in a really, really tight one. Friday, 22nd of May, we got the Bulldogs and the Storm. I cannot believe I'm going to do it. Bulldogs. I do this every week, and I just think, I'm done tipping them. I can't do it anymore. I'm just the head noise. Oh, why am I doing it? Why am I still believing that they can win? Why? But they just, I don't know. I feel that when Stephen Crichton does not play, I feel they lift. I feel they go another level. So I'm going to go the Canterbury Bulldogs to beat the Melbourne Storm in this game. Harry Grant, they're going to miss his one-handed pickups from dummy half and just making his way, weaving down the field of play. They're going to miss the momentum in the middle of the ruck. I understand at dummy half for the Melbourne Storm, instead of Harry Grant, they do have Trent Talau. He's traditionally a young half. Or he's in his mid-20s now, but he's traditionally plays halfback. For me, I am going to go in this game. I'm going to go Bulldogs. I can't believe I'm doing it. But I've got to pick someone. I think Munster's obviously, I think he's been really good for Melbourne in their last couple of victories over the last 2 weeks. No Munster, no Harry Grant. Give me the Dogs in that game. I feel that when Stephen Crichton does not play in recent times, I feel like the Dogs lift. Because they want to try and do it for their leader, their captain. And personally, I mean, they still have so much talent, the Melbourne Storm in this side. They still have Hughes. They still have Farlago. Josh King's been really good. Big Stefano's been good in the recent couple of weeks. I really love the inclusion of Sean Blaw starting at back row alongside Etavalu, Lasati. Cooper Clark starting at lock forward. I actually really like this for the Melbourne Storm this week. Trent Loiero, obviously he's out due to origin duties, but I just think they're missing just a couple of, just a bit of spark in their spine, just in the 6 and the 9. But yeah, I'm going to go the Dogs. I'm going to go the Dogs in a really close one. Golden Point, I reckon. Super Saturday, the Dragons and the Warriors. I was really impressed with the Dragons last week, right? Which sounds ridiculous because they lost by about 22 points. But if you told me before the game that the Dragons would lose by only 22 points to the Penrith Panthers, who have absolutely beaten up good quality sides, especially early on in the year, I would have said, you know what, if you're a Dragons fan, you probably take it. They were robbed of a certain try just before halftime to Damien Cook, which was probably the biggest howler I've seen, not just this year, the last 2 or 3 years from the bunker. That was terrible. That was really bad. I'm all for the bunker and refereeing decisions, making mistakes, but oh man, Stevie Wonder could have awarded that a try. It was bad. The Dragons, the effort was there last week. I understand they got beaten up. The effort was there. Really interested to see Jaden Sewer named in the centres here. He starts in the number 3 jersey. Going to be interesting to see if he actually starts in the centres or if there will be a shift for him to get back into the back row. Valentine Holmes, his game needs to go to another level. I don't think I've actually seen him play so inconsistent in his career since his debut. I think it was back in 2015 when he debuted for the Sharks. I'm going to go the Warriors here. I just think I need to start. I disrespected the Wars last week, put my hand up. I've said they're a great team, but I'll put my hand up at the start of the year. I thought they were going to really struggle this year. I thought the Broncos were going to beat them. I was really confident that the Broncos were going to beat them. And they proved to me and everyone else in the competition that they are dead set a grand final team this year. They are not here to fuck around in 2026. They could dead set, even when Tanner Boyd goes down. I was looking for little subtleties in the players. Will their body language go down? Will they think, oh shit, here we go again? But no, they went another level. Tim Murray Martin came on and they just played the way they normally play. There's a system in place there at the Wars, and I'm trusting in their system. I love what I'm seeing from them. I'm going to go the Warriors in this game with a big win. I think the Dragons are. There's an acceptance now that the wooden spoon may be coming to Wollongong in 2026. I can see it in the players. They're trying hard. The last week they have. But they are starting to really struggle, aren't they? Even body language wise, they are just defeated, and I think they're over this year already, to be honest, which is sad to see. I want to see them start to get a couple of wins, especially for their coach Dean Young. I'd like to see him be their head coach long term. They need to make a decision on that, in my opinion. Not in the next few weeks, but I'd say in the next maybe 2 months. Both Manly and the Dragons need to make a decision, probably by June 30, I'd say. On who their coaches will be moving forward. Kieran Foran's almost a done deal at Manly, so Brent Reid said that he's expected to be on Code Sports. Brent Reid, he said he's expected to re-sign at Manly in the next week or two on a long-term coaching deal. Dean Young for the Dragons, I think they've got to go with Dean Young, to be honest. He knows the club inside out. Put Wayne Bennett in this Dragons side. Is he going to get them a couple of wins since Flanagan's lost? I genuinely don't think so. So it's been a real tough ask for Dean Young. Personally, I think the Warriors win this and win it well. Unfortunately, the Dragons, for me, are just, it's really hard to see them get a win at any time this year. The Manly Seagulls and the Titans. Now, 2007, I was sitting on the Family Hill Brookvale Oval. Titans' new team coming to the comp. I thought, this will be fine. We'll get them, and then they win. 2018, Manly were up by heaps, and then the Titans came back and absolutely smashed Manly in the second half. Last year, Manly go with a full-strength team through the origin period to the Gold Coast. They had a couple of players out. Big Tino especially was not playing in that game. And I think the Titans beat Manly about 28 points to 6. Titans are a bit of a bogey side for Manly. 2009, I remember Manly going up to the Gold Coast. I was watching this with my grandma, and I think Greg Bird, got a penalty conversion from right in front. So there are so many times I watch Manly and the Gold Coast play where Manly are almost certainties to win, and somehow the Gold Coast just snatch the victory. They are Manly's bogey side. So I go into this game really worried, to be honest. I think Manly win, but I think it's going to be so hard. Like they need to um, as good as Manly have been, they need to be on their game, 100% focused, and they need to play for 80 minutes if they're going to win this game. Um, Blake Wilson, I like the inclusion of him coming into the side. I wasn't sure if they were going to go with Navrat Willett, who's a very, very tall winger for the Manly Sea Eagles. Josh Felaherty comes into the centres for Tolatau Kola, no Lehigh Hopewadi. Gee, I tell you what, I saw the replay of that. I watched the game and I saw the replay of him. It was such an accident. When the ref fell over, Lehigh Hopewadi straight away looked at him and put his arm up and said sorry and made sure he was okay. So look, I think the NRL need to know that any player from any team, unfortunately, sometimes it will accidentally happen where players will accidentally run into the referee. Like accidents will happen in tackles and this and that. The referee will fall over from time to time. There's 26 players on the field, 27 including the ref. 27 people on the field, including the ref. So at the end of the day, accidents will happen, and the ref will occasionally have a bit of a fall. But for a player to be suspended for a week, and I'm not just saying this because Hopewadi plays for Manly. I'm a Manly tragic, but I genuinely, I'll say this, I don't think I'm biased. Like, go and watch my podcast in the opening 3-4 weeks of this season and how much I smashed into Manly losing their DNA. And my Manly season preview, I had them bottom four. Mind you, I thought Seabold would be the head coach for at least half the year. I didn't expect Foz to come in after 3 weeks, but would have I still had Manly in the 8 under Foz? Or maybe I probably would have, but I definitely would not have seen them going this good. So yeah, look, I think Manly get the job done here. Tell you what, if it was at the Gold Coast, I'd have huge concerns, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to trust in Manly in this game. Brandon Wakeham coming back in. If you told me 6 weeks ago that Wakeham coming back into the side would give me huge confidence in Manly getting the victory, I'd be saying, yeah, don't know about that, but I think for me, I think Brandon Wakeham comes in. It just his line speed, his aggression, his service from dummy half is second to none. He's originally a halfback, played in the halves for the Tigers in the 2023 season. They had a couple of injuries in the halves that season. So, yeah, I like Ethan Bullimore starting at front row as well. Yeah, look, I think Manly get the job done at a sold-out crowd at Brookie Oval Super Saturday, but it's a danger game. Without a doubt, it is a danger game. I'll say it this way. Since round 5 this year, this is the game I'm most nervous about as a Manly fan. So going to be a really good game of football. Your Sunday ticket is between the Cowboys and the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Queensland Country Bank Stadium at 4:05 p.m. I'm going to go the Cows in this game. They showed me last week that they are a dead set finals team. They showed all the NRL fans, they showed all the rugby league fans that they can do something in this competition. Now, do I have them making the grand final? No. Do I have them winning the comp? No. But if they put in consistent performances as they did last week, then I genuinely believe there is a world where they can go on and win the comp. Win the comp. To be honest, like they have the talent, they have the roster. Drinkwater, for me, he's not one of the elite fullbacks of the competition. He's not a Teddy or Dylan Edwards or Kalen Ponga, Tom Travojevic. But he's in the next division. He's in the division below in terms of he's in the second division best fullbacks in the game. You've got Suafalago, Scott Drinkwater, these ball-playing fullbacks. He's in that category. And what he offered in attack for the Cowboys last week against the Roosters was some of the best ball-playing I've seen from any fullbacks in recent seasons. For me, I'm going to go the Cows in this one. It's going to be, yeah, I was really confident in the Cowboys until I saw this young Latrell Seagwalt named again. I just think there's too many changes in the position-wise in the South Sydney lineup. Tallis Duncan moves to the centres. Obviously, he's done a great job for them in the centres today in recent times, but he is traditionally a back rower. Yeah, I don't know. There's too many questions up in the air of where certain players will end up starting on game day for South Sydney. I think there's a bit more stability in the Cowboys team this season, or this week, I should say. Of course, no Tommy Dearden, but Jake Clifford's kicking game last week was absolutely fantastic. Robert Derby coming back into the side, I like. There's obviously no Murray Talangi. Zach Labour does a great job. Whether he fills in at wing or centre. Liam Sutton making his debut last week. Congratulations to the young kid. Fantastic scenes with him and his family. Look, I like Jason Tamalolo starting at lock forward in this game. I think the Cowboys at home get the job done. All right, that is my tips and predictions for round 12 of this season. We're about 40% all the way through the season. We've still got a long way to go, a long way to go. So if you're struggling in your tips or whatnot, just hang in there, get through the origin period, and then from round 18, round 19 onwards, it's game on. As I always say with your tipping, you want to try and aim for at least 6 out of 8 every week. In this round, if you can get about four out of 5, even better, 5 out of 5, you're doing a good job. But I think it's about consistency. As I've mentioned a few times on the podcast, I'm in an iTip footy competition where you get points based on the betting odds. So, for example, the Panthers were $1.04, I think, last week. I ended up going the Dragons. Did I think the Dragons were going to win? No, I didn't. But they're paying $11. So if the Dragons did pull one off, you get 11 points. So it makes it quite interesting. You get rewarded for tipping an upset, but at the end of the day, if you're going to win a tipping competition, it's all about consistency. I haven't done it in quite a long time. We've got about 20 people in my family won. It's been a long time since I've won one. I've been up there roundabouts in top 4 consistently over the years, but just can't get to that next level. I'm like Cronulla. I'm always in the finals. I just don't know how to get to that next level. Shout out to Sharks fans there. All right, thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been a fantastic first few months doing this podcast. I'm really enjoying it. I really appreciate those that have come up to me and said, "Hey, I tune in. I listen to the podcast." Like really. I'd be doing it anyway, honestly. Even if I was getting 3 views a week, I'd be doing it anyway because it's such a great hobby. It's great for my mind, like my creative mind of sitting there going through stats, really analysing and watching games a bit differently than how I have in previous seasons. It's a really healthy habit. So for those that tune in every week, those who just tune in occasionally, I dead set really appreciate it because, I get that all these new podcasters want to just get in there, get big, do all this. But for me, it's, I just naturally just let it happen. There's no pressure. I just sort of go in and just do my best, and whatever comes from it, comes from it. I know in 10 years' time, I'll certainly be doing this without a doubt, 100%, even if it's, even if it's small amount of views or if it gets big, who knows? But I'm so committed to doing this long term. I absolutely love it. So I really appreciate everyone's support. So thank you very much. All right, that's it for this week, round 12. Enjoy your football this round. Only the 5 games. These rounds kind of fuck, I want 8 games of football every week, but at least we get some rugby league in there. We'll get through that origin period, and then after. Don't get me wrong, I love the origin period, but there's a lot of disruption through the season. Through the midway point of the season. So I'd probably prefer to see, maybe a 3-week break of the competition and then just have Origin, 3 weekends in a row with the women's Origin, chuck in a couple of international matches in there as well. And that way it gives the players a break, gives everyone, all the clubs a chance to refresh, regroup. Because a lot of the complaints to the NRL is how long the season is, how many weeks there are, how much action there is, how much physicality there is on a consistent basis for these NRL players. Well, for me, if the clubs had an opportunity to rest players for 3 weeks and just play those Origin, get those Origin games happening and have a 3-week break, because I think after the Origin period too, I personally believe that everyone's a little bit footied out. a little bit, and we think, oh shit, we've got another 7, 8 weeks of regular season matches to go. By that point, everyone's a little bit like, oh, okay, well, we've still got a long, long, long way to go. And for me, sometimes, as much as I love rugby league, that final sort of 2 months of the regular season does feel like a little bit of a drag after Origin. So if we did have a 3 week break, personally, and just played the representative matches, the women's Origin, the men's Origin, the international games in there. But give the clubs and the players a chance to refresh. Those that aren't playing Origin, the coaches can reassess, and the injury toll can sort of freshen up a little bit. Certainly not be as full on for other clubs. For the clubs when they have a break. So that's just what I think should happen. Whether or not it's going to happen, probably not, but it just makes a lot of sense to me anyway. All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Good luck with your tips this week.